get your tire situation dealt with?
It was an ordeal. I sat there in that ditch for half a day, and finally Tad came and got me, and then we couldn't get the tire off, so I had to call somebody to come out with a torque wrench and get the tire off. And
Oh man,
it was just, I made 3 trips to Discount Tire, and finally yesterday I finally have 4 new tires. So
that sounds like an expensive process.
oh my gosh.
Okay, they said they just want to talk with the department right now. So they'll might be asking you guys to come in here in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
Rachel, I'm having a little bit of trouble turning up the volume, and it may be up as high as it can get, but
Yeah, we're having issues with that computer. I had to get a separate set of speakers for mine because the volume is so low. So I don't know what to do as far as the volume on that.
well,
I can come in, I can come in and check on it.
I can turn my hearing aids up. I'll do that.
Okay.
Judge, I was explaining to Mr. Trout that I had a docket call this morning at 9, and I just got into the office right before. I think the department mistakenly filed mom's hair follicle twice the other day, and they only filed dad's this morning. So I only had about 5 minutes to discuss that with Mr. Ruiz before we started. And so if I could get maybe another 5 minutes with him, maybe we can get something resolved.
That's great, Jerry. Go ahead and visit again with him if you will.
Okay, Judge, thank you. Okay, Your Honor. I believe we can announce an agreement.
And we're here on a hearing, and is the department ready?
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Jerry, you represent the father, and are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. He is present. We are ready.
Jeff, you're substituting in for Natalie Archer today in her absence and represent the mother, and are you ready?
That's correct, Judge. Yes, I'm ready, and the mother is.
Very good. And Ms. Zavala is our ad litem, and Stacy, are you ready?
I am, Your Honor.
Do we have a CASA worker on this case?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. And it's my understanding the parties would like to announce an agreement.
I believe so, Your Honor. I did receive a signature from Ms. Archer prior to today, stating that they were in agreement. And I'm assuming Mr. Hill's here on her behalf, but I'm assuming we're still in an agreement with him, with mother. After speaking with Mr. Morales, I believe he just stated they would be announcing an agreement as well, Your Honor.
Okay, and what is the agreement that the department will continue as TMC and the placement will continue as appropriate?
Correct, Your Honor. Department would be named as temporary managing conservator. We're not asking for any child support or medical support at this time. Parents to work services, and the placement to stay as is. I believe they're looking at some home studies right now on some parties names that have been given to the department. So those will be initiated as we go.
Okay, and Mr. Morales, is that your agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Ruiz would like me to make an announcement on the record. He is in agreement. As stated earlier, I received his hair follicle results today. Without getting into too much of that, I will say they were very, very low. He was utterly shocked about the results, said that he's never used before. I told him how sometimes those things can transfer, given the results of the mother's results and at those levels. I told him sometimes they can transfer. He would like to request another hair follicle pretty quickly, like, within the next maybe 2 weeks to a month. He anticipates that he's going to be getting his own apartment. I told him if he is at all suspicious of the fact that it could have been, it's positive, could have been from some sort of transfer of bodily fluids or something like that with Miss Browning, that he keep his distance for the time being. He does want to have the child placed with him pretty soon if possible, but he did want me to make that announcement, Your Honor. He was pretty, I was absolutely surprised about the results, and I would say that they were barely past the threshold, Your Honor, of positive.
Very good. I'll take note of that. And let's see, Mr. Hill, is that in fact y'all's agreement?
Sir.
And Stacy, as the ad litem, do you have a recommendation as to whether the court should approve that agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, I do believe that agreement is in the child's best interest. And that placement continue where it is for right now. However, I do understand there are these names. I think one of them possibly is maternal aunt, for a home study, and I am all for that home study being done so that we can, check on placement with family, and hopefully have that happen soon.
Very good. Okay, well, I will then bless that agreement and approve that, and I do find it is in the child's best interest to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I do find the child's current placement is in the child's best interest and appropriate, and we'll continue that while we search for other appropriate accommodations. I will order that both parents follow the service plans and make that an order of the court. Alyssa and Marco, I need to instruct both of you that while this matter is pending, in the event you would fail to comply with the plan or any other way not follow the orders of the court, ultimately it could result in you being terminated as the parent of that child. So it's very important to continue working your service plans. I will tell you this. Sometimes people get a little overwhelmed, and the tendency is to skip out of town or quit, stay out of communication. Everybody on this call wants to help you and wants you to be successful, and we want to reunite you with that child. So anytime you're struggling, if you've got two things scheduled at the same time, anything like that, reach out to your caseworker, reach out to your lawyer, and they can help you. And so don't let yourselves get overwhelmed. There's going to be quite a bit of stuff they're going to ask you to do, but we want you to accomplish that. We think that'll be in your child's best interest. And so make sure that you keep up with everything. And I wish you both good luck and hope that this works out to your satisfaction and in the best interest of that child. And I will sign that order when I receive it. Anything else?
Next hearing date, Your Honor, the status hearing will be on September 3rd on a 9 o'clock docket.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody get that on your calendar, and we will see you, Judge Baker, we'll see you back here on September the 3rd.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We are here today for a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming. Ms. Galvan is making our record this morning. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Valerie Sledge is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Alyssa Browning. She had a medical emergency this morning. She was going to join us, but I told her, I've spoke to her yesterday, so I'll be able to represent her.
Okay. Hope everything's okay. Lost him.
I'm
Let me get him
sorry.
back in.
I'm not sure if Jerry logged in from another account. This is Jessica and I'm interpreting for our client. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he was logged in and then fell out, so I've got him back. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you, ma'am. All right, Jerry, if you want to make your announcement.
Oh, yes, Jerry Morales for respondent Father Marco Reese.
Stacy Zavala for the child.
All right, everybody, please be mindful that she is interpreting. So if we could just talk at a reasonably slow pace. All right, so what do we have new since the court report was
May I
filed?
speak, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, so Dad has his own place. I did go out and see the place on Friday. It has all utilities working. He has his own vehicle. Has his own vehicle. The house is also childproof with locks and everything. The baby has his own room, but the baby bed for Adriel is in Dad's room because, of course, he's a baby. But Adriel does have his own room. And when he's old enough, he will be able to, of course, lay in his own room. But Dad has the bed in his room so he could watch Adriel if he were to be placed at home with him. He has bottles, formula, all that for Adriel as well. Also, his parents came down to help him if Adriel was to be placed with him in the home as well. And so the home is safe and efficient, no safety concerns whatsoever as well. As far as Adriel, he's doing very well. He's thriving in his placement with foster parent. All his medical needs have been met. Very healthy, very thriving. He had a surgery for his tongue tie, and he has done very well with that also. He has also he receives ECI services for the tongue tie because of the latching part, as far as like eating, and he's done very well with that also. So no concerns with his placement or where he's at and getting the care and all that from his foster placement. With Miss Brownie, she has initiated some parenting classes. Also, she has set up her psychological assessment. She also had stated that she's going to set up her other services. That's with the family plan of service that she's had agreed to doing. She has her own vehicle. However, she does not have a place right now to stay. She did tell me since the case has started, she has been staying, of course, in her vehicle and things like that. But she is working on trying to get a place of her own. She also stated to me that she is working as a phlebotomist. However, she has stated when she gets her first few checks, she'll send me paycheck stubs to show proof of income. As far as Mr. Ruiz, he does have a job as well. Like I said, he has his own vehicle. He, like I said, has his own place. He has initiated his parenting as well and completed some parenting classes as well. He is going to set up his OSAR assessment, and he has couples counseling. But I did inform him that if him and mom were going to continue to be together, that mom would need to, of course, do individual therapy first. And then they could work on the couples counseling when she gets her individual counseling done for herself. But overall, both parents have been in good standing with me and things like that. Trying to think what else. Oh, yesterday, I will inform you guys that I did get a call from Mr. Ruiz, but I also got a call from Miss Brownie. And Ms. Brownie had called saying that she was just seeing how the court case was supposed to go tomorrow, which was today. But she also had stated that her and Mr. Ruiz was arguing, but then she said she's okay, and then she hung up the phone. Later on after that, I got a call from Mr. Ruiz stating to me that him and Miss Brownie had gotten into an argument. He had asked Miss Brownie to leave the home and things like that. And supposedly she got upset because she wants to stay in the home, but he did inform her that, of course, they're not together and it's for the best interest of Adriel. As time goes on, if they decide to be together, then, of course, they could, of course, work on things. But right now he wants to do what's best for Adriel. And his goal was to basically get Adriel back in his care, but to still let her know that she cannot be in the home or be around the home. And so she got upset and things like that. And supposedly she had threatened Mr. Adriel with saying that she was going to call the police and all that on him. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ruiz did go down to the police station to try to make that report, to try to make sure that she does not come over because she was kind of acting irate, and he said he was scared for himself and for his parents. And that was just yesterday when he did call me to inform me about that. So I did tell him, I understand that he has to do what he needs to do for himself and for his parents, but I also informed Miss Brownie that she is not allowed to be at the home or anything like that as well prior to this happening. So I don't know how that led up to what happened yesterday, but Miss Brownie was informed, as well as Mr. Reese's, she could not be here and things like that. if the baby was to be here, but also if they're not going to be together, then she understands that she has to have boundaries too. But that's all I have, Judge.
Okay, I want to make sure. Jessica, are you okay? You keeping up?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Archer.
I did speak to my client yesterday, and overall she's doing a lot better since she has the job. She is having trouble finding a place to live because she's been evicted twice, so she's having trouble finding a place to rent to her. But she does understand that she's supposed to stay away from dad, and she is willing to do that because she is hoping the baby will be placed with him. She, of course, wants to do her services. She's willing to do all of that. She passed out at work, and they're afraid she might be having some seizures. So that's where she is this morning, is getting that checked out. But she also wanted to make sure I asked the court if she could possibly get more visitation. She's really enjoying the visitation she has, and she thinks she does have time for more if St. Francis would provide that and the court would allow it.
All right, we had a negative UA on both parents, correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what are we doing on visits right now? An hour a week?
They have 2 hours. They've had 2 hours since the case started. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, standard infant. Okay.
Yes.
So what is St. Francis's position about that?
I mean, I have no argument in doing more time with her and dad. I don't have any argument with that, Your Honor, because it is supervised by us. And according to the worker who watched the visit, she said that they go very well. I mean, there was only one time, Your Honor, that she was having a meltdown and she needed me. And so the worker had messaged me and asked me, was I in the building and could I please come help talk to Miss Brownie? And I did. And she was just scared because she just didn't know as far as like what services and how to set them up and things like that. So, and she felt like she wasn't doing anything right at the time. And so I did go in there and calm her down, but that's the only time she actually had a meltdown. It only took me like 3 minutes to talk to Miss Brownie and she was fine. So, but other than that, that's the only time that worker had asked me to come in and help because Alyssa kept asking for me at the time.
All right, so before I make a decision about that, then I want to obviously talk about the main question is whether or not the child will be placed with dad. So, Ms. Zavala, I'd like to hear from you before we start changing up visits and everything.
Your Honor, the only information I have is what I've gotten from Valerie in terms of that the house is appropriate, that he's got help. I have not met with Mr. Ruiz directly. I am concerned about mom being over there. It sure sounds like they're still together, or it seems like a little bit of an unstable situation, and I'm unsure about Mr. Ruiz's ability to keep mom away. But it sounds like everything else is going well with dad. So if we could get some clarification on that situation and some very clear limitations, I think we can definitely move that way, but it sure sounds like they are currently together.
And Judge, I would add on to that, I would have concerns of placing the baby right now. I'd like to get a little further into the case and make sure how this relationship is stabilized and where we're looking. If mom's having trouble finding a place to live right now, is she going to be constantly coming back and forth? There's just some unknowns that I would prefer to have answered before we place the baby back in.
And Judge, I might be able to shed a little bit of light, not completely, obviously, but just on what my clients relayed to me whenever you're ready.
Sure.
Okay. Your Honor, Mr. Ruiz has also contacted me after he contacted Ms. Sledge about the incident. In fact, he was looking for a protective order and asked for the police to assist in a protective order. So I don't believe they're dating. He wants her away from her. He tells me that Ms. Browning is very aggressive. She assaulted him twice. She stole his wallet. And this was all within the last week and threatens him with deportation. Tried to force her way into the house. You know, he's trying to get her out. That created some incidents, and he said he's not getting any help from the police. There's no protective order. Although, you know, he does admit that, hey, look, if she gets her things together, I'd like to co-parent. Potentially, there could be a relationship there. But I'm going to be completely candid. I advised him from the jump, based on the discrepancy, or not discrepancy, but the huge disparity in their drug screen results. Why I thought he was positive, it was from being around her, and not necessarily used himself, because his results were so much, you know, they were in the thousands, barely in the thousands, and hers were in the 100,000s. That being said, Judge, this is just based on my advice. I've told him to stay away from her, and he tells me he's tried, but he's asking me to get him a protective order since the police haven't helped him with that. He told me that today, though, so we haven't gotten very far on that. But I do not believe there's a relationship. However, that doesn't mean that Miss Browning isn't going to continue to try to force her way, you know, at his house. So that's a concern for him as well. But I do think he'll be protective of the child if we do consider placement.
Okay, so what I think the answer here is, and I'll just say, because of the baby just having had this surgery and ECI working with the baby, what I would really like to do is get baby through that and ECI release, you know, once we know ECI has done what they think they need to do, and so that the baby, we know we're not going to have any further feeding issues or anything like that. So no reflection, Mr. Morales, as far as Mr. Ruiz. I just think it makes sense to leave all of that in play the way it is right now until ECI releases the child. And at that time, if things are continuing to go well for your client, then I wouldn't have a problem placing the child there. I think the easy way to handle this right now is I'm going to enter a no contact order between the parents. I mean, it's not a protective order, but it is a court order that says no contact. So, you know, and that's a two-way street. He can't initiate contact with her, and she shouldn't be initiating it with him. So I mean, I feel like I can do that based on the information that I know, and you know, it's a little different. Full-blown protective order that needs to be filed, served, you know, have a hearing. But for the time being, let's just do a no contact order and see if that maybe manages the problem.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. So if St. Francis can accommodate some more visitation for both parents right now, that's great. It is sort of a question of, you know, are there time slots and is it available? So I'm going to kick that can to them and see if there is a way to accommodate that. And as long as drug tests are negative, obviously. I know it's going to take a while for mom's hair to be negative, but as long as the UAs stay negative and hair levels are dropping, then I'm fine with that. Obviously, if we get the baby moved to dad's house, you know, we won't be doing visitation with dad. Baby will be there. And that might even open up some additional hours with St. Francis and for mom, you know, to have a little more contact. But, you know, for now, I think we just have to work within the parameters that we have. So we'll see what they can come up with.
Judge, may I ask, is there anything St. Francis could do to assist my client in getting housing of some sort so she's not out of her car?
So, Miss Archer, I asked her, has she been on the HUD waiting list? And she had stated to me that she was going to try to get on there. I also told her, like, the shelters, as far as like the Haven, Martha's Home, all those places that she could go to as well to get, you know, to have a place to stay and things like that. But she had stated that she was going to, like I said, get her paychecks to get her own place and things like that. I even informed her about, like, there's like 2 apartments that are income based as well. And she stated that she didn't know if she could get into those because of her being evicted. But I told her at least try as well. So I'll continue to work with her and see what I can help her with and things like that. As you know, as time goes on as well. Because I did tell her that it is very dangerous for her to sleep in her car and things like that as well.
Thank you, and I'll follow up too.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, if I may, I just got a message from the supervisor on this case. At this time, St. Francis is not wanting to increase visits until we can at least get her hair follicle results back in.
Okay. If when we get that, if it's the levels are lower, then we can move forward with increasing.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't know we had one, but we had one pending. Okay. All right, then for today, I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue the child's current placement. Find there's a continuing danger to return the child home today. But once the child is released from ECI, if things are still going well with the father and, that situation is maintaining, then I will look at placing the child there. And if St. Francis is comfortable doing that, y'all can go ahead and do it without coming back to court, if we're at that point. If anybody has a big objection, for instance, if Mrs. Zavala at that point in time has a problem with that, then we'll set it for a hearing. So we can increase the visits if time slots allow and drug tests stay negative and mom's hair reduces, her levels reduce. And then, like I said, I'm going to do the no contact order between the parents. So counsel, y'all can explain that to them, how that's a two-way street. Then I'll order the service plans as an order of the court. For Mr. Ruiz's benefit, since he is here, failure to work your services could result in the child not being placed with you and or termination of parental rights. So we don't want that to happen. And I'm very encouraged with Dad's situation, and I really hope we can get the baby placed there pretty soon. But I think I just think it makes sense for the child to get through this surgery and this ECI and all that. All right. I appreciate everybody. Our next hearing will be December 17th of 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
We're here for an initial permanency hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are also live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making her record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Jennifer Campos is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Alyssa Browning, and we are present and ready.
Jerry Morales for respondent father, Marco Reese, Your Honor. He is present. We are ready.
Stacy Zavala for the child.
Okay. All right. Ms. Campos, if you'll give us an update.
Yes, ma'am. Adriel's doing really well. He's gaining weight. He's hitting all of his milestones. His speech therapy is going very well. His feedings are going well. They are looking at dropping him down to twice a month instead of every week. He was recently taken to the doctor, and he does have eczema that is being treated with cream. He does have a reactive airway that he has to take breathing treatments for during the winter months to keep him, from getting sick or sicker, should I say. But other than that, he's doing very well. He's a happy baby. He's so precious that so I'm glad to see that he's doing well. Mom has moved to Colorado, but I was just informed that she is moving back to Texas at the end of this month. She has completed parenting classes, her psychological. She did start counseling in Colorado, I'm not sure who the counselor was, but she started that on her own. She is working. She has missed a couple of visits recently due to her car breaking down, but unfortunately, we can't help those things. But visits are going very well with her. I did increase both parents to 2 hours every week. Marco's is on Wednesday. Alicia, is on Friday. Marco's visits are going very well. His parents have been here. I have been allowing grandparent visits with him once a month. So those are going very well. He's very bonded with both parents. They're all doing amazing.
Ms. Campbell, one question. In your report, you have mom's drug screens. It looks like dad has not drug screened since July. Have you been trying to send him, or have we not had drug screens on him?
No, I just actually sent him in December. I did send those to the court, I did send those to be e-filed, and they were both negative.
Okay, all right. Was there any reason we didn't have him screened between July and now, or?
I was unaware that he had not been drug screened until probably last month. So when I was working on the court report,
Okay. But other than that, dad, and those came back negative, so we're good on those. But other than that, mom and dad are both doing well.
yes, dad is doing Padre classes, parenting classes, or through Fatherhood Fire. He should be done, I believe, in January or February. He did his OSAR assessment, which came back that he didn't need any services. There was no issues. He's moving forward. We did find a Spanish-speaking counselor that I'm getting him in with. So everything's progressing the way it should be.
As with mom, still don't have a release of information for OSAR to get that done.
So since she has missed the last couple of visits, we were going to actually have her sign it then, but since she was unable to attend those, we have not had one signed. No, sir.
Okay. But once she moves back to Texas, are we going to be able to get that done?
Yes.
Okay.
Once I get with her, I can.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I see that the mom and dad are not together anymore.
No, sir.
So do we need to take couples counseling off the service plan at this point?
Yes.
Are you going to ask for any sort of co-parenting class, or can they do that, kind of work on that through with their counselors now?
I think that they could work on that through their counselors. And if it does not work, I can set up a co-parenting class or look into something to help them out.
Okay. All right. But right now, as far as with the court, we don't need the couples counseling in the service plan anymore.
Okay. No, sir.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Campus, let me clarify. I thought I heard you say she had moved back to Texas.
No, she moved. She's been living in Colorado. She's moving back to Texas at the end of this month.
Moving. Okay. All right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Ms. Archer?
Ms. Campos, did my client mention if she is moving solely for the purpose of being closer to the baby?
Yes, she did.
And did she say she's willing to sign the release of information?
Yes, she has told me she's willing to do whatever it takes. Yes.
Okay. And other than that, she's completed her services.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay. And Mr. Morales?
Ms. Campos, was there a delay in Mr. Ruiz's services due to not being able to coordinate with a Spanish providing counselor? Okay. And was there also a similar delay because of the parenting, or is that through the counselor? Is he his parenting?
No, there was also a delay in the parenting classes. We're working on getting him set up with a Spanish speaking parenting class. I know that he did take parenting classes and he sent me some certificates. But we thought that it would be better if he took Spanish speaking, so maybe he, would get a better understanding, and that solely tied tied to Adriel's age.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass witness.
Mr. Morales, does your client speak some English? I'm concerned about whether he's understanding anything we're talking about right now.
Your Honor, he speaks very good English, and he is actually in my office. Jessica is translating to him right now.
Okay. But for services, he probably needs.
I don't necessarily think so. I don't think he necessarily agrees. That was one thing I was going to announce for him when I get the opportunity, but I think he's just a little frustrated in the pace of the way things are going. I think a lot of it has to do with the translation. I speak to him English and he responds English, but I think there could be some things lost in translation for sure.
I also speak to him in English and he does respond back to me. But it's, there may be some things that in English he doesn't understand, that would be better translated to him in Spanish.
Okay. Well, he's going to have to really help us decide whether he does or he doesn't. I guess, Mr. Morales, you can talk with him at the conclusion of this hearing and see if you think he has understood what's going on today, if we really do need to have a court interpreter for him moving forward. Miss Katie will need to know that. All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, the child is doing really well. I know that Jennifer gave a good update on him. I do recommend that placement continue, but I'm glad to see parents are working services.
Okay. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the child's current placement. Find that there would be a continuing danger to return the child home today, but the parents are in compliance with their service plan and we're working in the right direction. And I'll see everybody back for our next review hearing, April 15th of 2025, and that'll be on a 9 o'clock docket.
Judge, I'm sorry. I didn't know if we were taking our turns to present any case on or anything. If I may, just briefly, Mr. Rees, again, he did express his frustration. He did want me to ask. He understands that reunification is probably very unlikely at this point, but that's what his goal was. I think in the beginning, he was kind of told, being the non-offending parent, that they were looking to get the baby to him pretty quickly. There was a few setbacks in the pace of some of the services. I know have kind of set that back. But at a minimum, he would like to have increased visitation. I mean, he did just come back with a negative hair follicle, and he's been working his services as diligently he can, given the delays. So he'd like a little bit more time.
Okay, Ms. Campos, can we achieve that? I certainly don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it either. Like I said, I just increased their visits to 2 hours. So yes, I will get with the person that watches the visits and see if we can do like 4.
Okay.
If
All right,
that's
see what we can do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, I'll add that to my docket entry.
Judge, if the department sees fit, once mom has moved back to Texas, will they be allowed to increase visitation at their will?
Sure.
As well.
Oh, yeah, always. I mean, I'm always good with it as long as the worker's good with it, and we think, I mean, they don't have to come to me for that, so I'm always good with that. Okay, then.
Judge, just for the record on that, couples counseling, if it is been ordered or a recommendation under the service plan, we won't need that due to the change in their relationship.
Correct.
I'll put in the order that we'll take that off of the service plan.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much, and I'll see you back in April.
Thank you.
Judge Mike, I'm so sorry. My client just reminded me, can we have, if we're going to order a potential couples counseling, there is a no contact clause between the two parties.
We're taking it out of the service plan.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just got that communicated to me.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
we're taking it out of the service plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
And we're here on an adversary hearing, and is the department ready?
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We are present and ready, Your Honor.
And TD, you represent the mother, and are you ready?
Ready, Judge. Erica Ross is present. We're ready to proceed.
Very good. And my understanding is the father at this point is unknown. Stacy Zavala has been appointed as the ad litem. And Stacy, are you ready?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Daniel, have you guys reached an agreement, or do we need to have a hearing?
We'll probably have to have a short hearing, Your Honor. As far as Mr. Hammond's client, mom, he has sent me a signature, so we are in agreement with the mother to have this department to keep temporary managing conservatorship of the child, no child support or medical support, and mother will be required to work services through the case. As far as the unknown father, we need to take a little testimony on that.
Okay. Very good. And so you may then call your first witness.
I'd call Ruben Martinez, Your Honor. And how long have you been in that role?
Been back about 6 months, left for 6 months, then came about 2.5 years.
Okay. And Ruben, you heard me announce just then that we have an agreement with mom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Throughout your investigation, did mom give you any idea or give you a name of who dad was?
No, sir.
Did you have conversations with her about that?
Yes, sir.
And did she state whether she was aware and didn't want to give you a name, or was she not aware of who the father was?
It was kind of 50-50, that she may or may not know the father, or she just didn't want to give the information. I asked twice, and I just didn't want to push any further, just to her not wanting me to give me the information.
Okay. And nobody's listed on any paperwork from the baby's birth at the hospital, to your knowledge?
Correct.
Okay. Today, based upon mom's agreement and not knowing who the father was, so we cannot place a child with a father, any family members not having any information, is the department asking for temporary managing conservatorship of the child? And do you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
Yes, sir.
And did you receive information that the child had some symptoms of withdrawals?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, currently moving forward, is the department asking for no in-person visits with mother right now due to possible transference based upon drug screen results from baby and mother?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that's in the best interest?
Yes.
Virtual visits we're good with, just no in-person right now till we get clean UAs?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
TD?
Ruben, is it your understanding, the conversations that you've had with Erica, is it her plan to follow the department's recommendation that she go into a long-term lockdown type rehab facility, inpatient?
When I spoke with her, she was talking about going to Serenity. So yes, sir.
Okay. And are you familiar with Serenity House in Plainview?
I'm vaguely familiar with it. I just know that I've talked to some of them in the past. I know it's in-person and intensive outpatient through Serenity. I know they offer both. I think it's either they have one in Plainview or in Lubbock, from my understanding, but that's about all I know about the program.
Okay, that's fine. Has mom, Erica Ross, been cooperative with you? You have a phone number where you can get a hold of her?
I did have a phone number. I tried to call it yesterday, but that phone number was not working, so I'm not sure if that number has been changed. But up to the point yesterday, yes, sir.
Okay. I have nothing further, Judge.
Stacy?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
But Ruben, the child is currently in foster care?
Correct.
And is that a good, safe place for the child right now?
Yes, sir. They're meeting her medical needs and basic needs. Yes, sir.
Is that a family that's had other children before?
I think this may be their first placement, but I'll have to double check on that. They may have previous placements before them, but I'm not aware of that.
Okay, but you're confident that right now that's a good, safe place for the child and should continue that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Daniel, any follow-up?
Not from Mr. Martinez, Your Honor.
Okay, and the department may then call its next witness.
We'd call mom, Erica, just real brief, Your Honor.
Okay.
You heard some of the testimony we just had, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a possible name of who you think is the father?
No, sir, I don't. It was like a one-time thing. So,
Do you, even if it was a one-time thing, do you have a name of who we could look for, just due for legal purposes?
no, sir, I don't.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
TD, any questions?
Briefly, Judge. Erica, we've discussed what you need to do in the near future, correct?
Yes, sir.
The main thing is you get yourself straightened out, and then we'll work toward reunification with Carlista. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you're willing to work with the department to, like you mentioned, you would like to go to an inpatient, get clean, and then we'll work on the possibility of her being placed with you at Serenity House if that's possible. But that may be 60, 90, 120 days down the road. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have got to start giving them clean UAs and hair follicles before any of this starts making some progress to the next step. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have nothing further, Judge.
Stacy?
I have no questions of this witness.
Erica, this is Judge Board. Are you currently involved in the criminal justice system, currently on probation or charged with anything?
I'm not currently on probation, but I do have a charge, but I don't exactly know the status of that charge.
Do you know what county that charge is out of?
It's Potter County.
Do you currently have an attorney appointed to you?
I did, but I went to court and I haven't been back since, and there's been nothing told to me since.
Do you know the name of the lawyer that's representing you?
Yes, Troy Blackwell.
Oh, Troy Blackwell?
Yes.
Are you sure that's not a bankruptcy proceeding, or is it a criminal case?
Yes, sir.
Judge, if I may answer, it is a criminal case, and Troy Blackwell was her attorney. She pled to probation on it. It looks like there's actually a probation violation warrant been filed. So I don't know if she's taken care of that yet, but there is a warrant. It shows.
Okay, well, I just wanted TD to have a full picture. TD, if you don't mind following up on that.
I will, Judge.
Erica, the reason I ask that is I'm just very sensitive to where you've got involvement with probation and CPS, because both of those organizations are going to be asking you to do things, and sometimes it's at the same time and you get kind of overwhelmed and you don't know which one to take care of when you've got two different things going on at the same time. So if we can coordinate that, then we can make sure we don't set you up for failure, and we can accommodate what each the probation department needs you to do and what CPS needs you to do. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so Mr. Hammonds will, my lights just went out. Mr. Hammonds will, he knows very well about all that stuff, and he can kind of coordinate that. So you be sure and stay in contact with him. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'll pass the witness. Mr. Trout, any additional?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. And does the department have any additional testimony?
No, sir. Department would rest, Your Honor.
TD, do you care to call any witnesses?
No, Judge, I rest.
Stacy, any witnesses?
No witnesses, I rest.
And may I have your recommendation as the ad litem?
Yes, it is my recommendation that the child remain in the temporary managing conservatorship of the department. She is placed with a foster home in the area. They are making sure that her medical needs are being addressed. I do agree with the recommendation that in-person visits not take place until we've got clean drug screens so that there's no transference to the baby. But I do believe that all of that is in her best interest.
Very good. Well, with that, then I will go along with the agreement, approve it. I do find it is in the child's best interest to name the department as temporary managing conservators. I will not require any child support or medical support at this time. I do find the current placement is appropriate and in the child's best interest, and I will continue that. I will court order mother to complete her services, order that they have no in-person visits until we get a clean drug screen, but I will approve virtual visits. Erica, I need to admonish you and just make sure you understand that now that you're involved in the process, if you were to fail to complete your services or follow any of the court orders, the court could ultimately terminate your rights as a mother. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's very important that you comply, and I'm going to tell you something. Some people don't believe this, but I can promise you, everybody that's on this screen right now on this call wants the best result for you and for that child. And so they want to help you, but the only way they can help you is if you allow them to do that. And so, again, if you get overwhelmed or you feel like you've got too many things going on at the same time, you reach out to your lawyer or to your caseworker and let them know what's going on. And then I promise you, they'll try to help you any way they can. Okay.
Yes, sir.
TD, one thing I might suggest, if you don't mind looking into it, it's my understanding Erica's been living out of a hotel.
Yeah, Judge, that's my understanding.
You know, Erica, I don't know if you're familiar with an organization called Downtown Women's Center, but I work with them very closely in the drug court that I handle every week. And it's a wonderful, wonderful program for women who are experiencing homelessness, and a very loving community. And one of the things they will help you do is reunite with your child, and they have housing available for single mothers and allow the children once you're reunited to stay there. And TD, I know, is familiar with that organization, and I would suggest to you, you might contact them and see what availability they have, because that would sure be a much better place, and I think would look good to the court and to the department when they start considering reuniting you with that child. Okay.
Yes, sir. I've stayed at the Haven before.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. How long were you there?
I was there for not very long,
Did
maybe
you?
2 months or so, when I was pregnant with my last child.
Okay. Well, then if they're familiar with you, that helps. And I'm sorry that didn't work out the first time, but they're very forgiving, and they let people come back that have been there before all the time. So, there's some other places, Martha's home. Um,
I've talked
and
I've talked to Martha's home. I'm on the waiting list.
Excellent. Okay. Well, good. You're already being proactive, and I'm proud of you for doing that. That is a good sign, and that reflects well on you. So just keep checking into those places, and hopefully we can get you in one of those places and give you some support. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good luck to you, and I will sign that order when it's presented, and I appreciate everybody working that out.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Daniel, if you'll stay on a minute, I was going to update you on my conversation with that Colorado judge. Just to update you guys, or the judge actually called me.
No.
Do we need to go off YouTube?
Yeah, you're still on YouTube.
Oh,
Sorry, sometimes I forget when I'm in control of things.
and is the department ready?
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
And Ryan, you're here on behalf of the father, and are you ready?
That's correct, Judge. I'm here on behalf of Brandon Bellamy. I'm ready. I do not believe he is present.
And then Stacy, you're here on behalf of the mom, and are you ready?
Good morning, Judge. Yes, I'm ready, and Miss Capps is present as well, and she's ready.
Very good. And then Stacy, you've been appointed as the ad litem, and are you ready?
I am, Your Honor.
And do we have a CASA worker in this case?
No, sir.
Okay, very good.
And Judge, also, I believe, well, let me find her. Ms. Jackie Cronin is a party to the case. She was played in at the last hearing. due to being a party to the Colorado case.
Okay.
And she is present.
And Ms. Cronin, you're present and you're ready.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, it's my understanding. First of all, let me announce on the record that Monday, the 15th, I had a telephone conversation with the Colorado judge that was the Court of Continuing Jurisdiction due to a previous case that had been filed up there. Very nice judge, very knowledgeable. She officially declined to exercise jurisdiction, gave us permission to proceed in our case, and she was going to make a docket entry to that effect, and I will make a docket entry to that effect in our case. I don't think she was going to send me an official order or anything like that, but we both felt like announcing it on the record today would be sufficient, and then making a docket entry. So we've got a clear runway to continue. I know that was a question the last time you all met. It's my understanding Mom already executed a relinquishment, but there might have been a technical thing with that and she's redone it.
Yes, sir. I have it. I filed it just a second ago, Your Honor. I also just sent out an email to everybody with exhibits. Mom and Dad both have executed relinquishments.
Okay.
And I sent them out as exhibits number 1 and 2.
Okay, very good. And so we're going to have a little bit of testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, I apologize. I didn't realize Jaden was going to be here with us. And so I just saw him after announcements, and I would ask that we go off of YouTube to protect his privacy.
Okay, any objection to that?
No objection.